Hey everybody! I just now realized that I never started the music, but you all know that I'm kind of sporadic with that. Anyway, so welcome to the slightly late Beading Dreams Wednesday evening live tutorial stream, but it seems like that has actually worked out great for everybody. So yay for me being late in the right way. I swear that it's always the pain in the neck customers who walk in at 5:45 and need all the attention.
Yes.
Hi Smee! So yeah, hi Smee, Lori, Kenneth, and everyone else who's out there. Welcome to this project, the wire chevron pendant. So this is a technique that's not unlike techniques that we've done before. You know, basically just making shapes of wire and wiring them together. You're making shapes of a thicker wire and using a thinner wire to bind them together to make interesting patterns. So again, this one is not, we haven't done anything exactly like this before, but it is similar in form to many things that we have done before. Oops, sorry Heather.
Am I on?
You are on.
That's okay.
You're off now.
Okay, so the other place is way super better.
Okay, cool. Then
yeah.
I will just look into the other place and
okay.
Add that to my laundry list of things to do. So this is the actual pendant, and so
okay for me to order them.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, exactly like I said. And the one thing that I forgot to do when I was making the sample that I think I am gonna do tonight is I was gonna hammer it, and then I got completely distracted like 17 times while I was making my sample, and then I put it all together and realized that I'd forgotten to hammer it. And you don't want to hammer it when it's all together because these wraps are pretty fragile, and if you hammer on top of them, you have the potential to break the wire, which is no fun. But I think, oh dear, if I had a hammer, I would hammer.
Okay, which kind of hammer are you looking for?
Chasing. Yeah, I have the other two.
I don't know where yours went. That one's headless.
Headless hammerman?
Headless hammerman.
Okay, so while Heather is very kindly fetching me a hammer, I don't know. I don't think it's up there. It's definitely not up there.
No, it's definitely not.
That's okay. I has a hammer now. Thank you, Heather. Alright, so let's talk tools and supplies for this evening's tutorial. You're going to need some 16 gauge wire. I'm using 16 gauge gold fill today. How much you need really depends on how big you want to make your pendant. So I'm pretty sure I did this one with about 5 inches of wire total. I mean, that's a really valid question, Lori, because I actually had to get down on the floor for another reason and found so many floor beads. All of the floor beads I found.
So many.
But I don't see my hammer on the floor. That doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that it's in stealth mode right now.
You can't hammer in the evening. You can't hammer in the morning or all over this land.
Yes, I can, because you got me a hammer.
Well, now you
I can do all of those things thanks to you, Heather.
Glad I could be here for you.
So I think I made this one with about 5 inches of wire. So basically, you know, whatever you want in this length to be, which that's about 2 inches, and then you need a little bit of extra for the top here, and then you're gonna need about 2 inches. You know, someday I'm gonna take better notes. Someday I'm gonna channel Lori, and I'm actually gonna take notes while I'm making these. I did not, Lori. It's gone.
No, we'll find it 6 months from now and wonder what the heck that thing is.
Exactly. So I think this is about 2 inches of wire. So basically you need 7-ish inches of wire, more if you want a bigger pendant, less if you want a smaller pendant. Obviously this would also make a kick-ass earring. This is pretty much an Amy-sized earring right here, but you could scale the whole thing down to make a smaller pair of earrings. If you're going to scale it down, you might want to go down from a 16 gauge to an 18 gauge wire. And then my binding wire here is 26. You're going to need about a 1.5 feet or so of that. That might be a little bit of overkill, but better safe than sorry. You're gonna need a bead, and obviously I was being indecisive, so I'm gonna use one of these beads. I'm not quite sure which. It's got to be a center drilled bead. This well, okay, this would work with a top drilled bead. You just attach it here and here, but it kind of will have a tendency to sort of swing a bit since it's not anchored at the bottom. So I like this project better with a center drilled bead. And as far as supplies go, that's it. As far as tools go, if you decide you want a hammer, you're going to need a hammer and a hammering surface. And then you're just going to need your basic 3 tools, your round nose pliers, your chain nose pliers, and your wire cutters. And I am going to need something that's just slightly bigger than my round nose to make that loop right there. And I can't for the life of me remember what I used when I was making the sample, but I have a super vintage with flux on it Papermate pen, and that's about the right size to make that. So I'm going to start by cutting my wire, my 16 gauge wire. I love that the speaker just like got tossed over here to the side, probably by me, and that's just where it lives now. At least it's out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to start with 6 inches of wire, just because I have a feeling my 5 inches might have been an underestimation. And then I'm going to go ahead and just cut my 2 pieces for my little chevrons as well. So 1. And I actually cut those at 2.5 inches because I'm apparently having serious insecurity about my wire estimates here. Okay, so then I'm going to measure and mark my center. Well, I'm going to measure my center and grab it with my pliers, basically. So I'm just going to find the center of my wire. Okay, which is right. Alright, so that's my center, so I'm going to grab with my chain nose pliers right next to the center of my wire, and I'm going to bend it up to make a V. And then this is one of my favorite techniques. It's how you get this little kind of curvy detail to your V, which for some reason is super appealing to me. I don't exactly know why I like it so much, but I do. So the way that you do that is you're going to take your chain nose and you're actually going to press this wire at the very ends all the way together. And this is all about the angle because it's going to want to slip. You can see how it's doing that for me. There we go. Just squeeze her right on together and then open it back out. And it gives you this really cute little pointy bit at the bottom. And then if you don't want it to be quite so pointy, just spread your wires like that. And once again, I don't know why I'm so fascinated by that little detail, but I absolutely love it. Now I'm going to take these 2 wires and I'm going to bend them up to make the rest of my little shape here. And you could do this freehand, but if you have a ring stick or a dowel handy, it is going to help you get more symmetrical bends. So like this is not necessary, but it is going to be helpful. So I'm just going to put that on my ring stick and I'm just going to bring this around. And also, Lori, change your notes because this definitely is going to be a miniized version of this. So that was 6 inches of wire, and obviously that's not nearly enough to make a pendant of this size. So I would say this is probably 8 inches of wire. But I'm not unhappy with this. I'm actually pretty pleased with it. It's cute. You can do cute. So that's my little shape. And then I'm going to go ahead and anchor it off at the top. And I don't need a ton of wire to do the anchoring, so I could expand this a bit. Now this is, right now it's more of like a teardrop shape. And once I've anchored it off, if I want to kind of bow these out a little bit more to make that oval shape like I did in my sample, I would be able to do that at that time. But right now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to secure the top so that it doesn't move anymore, which means that I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and if you have a longer wire, which I do, you can see a little bit, that wire is a little bit longer, you're going to take that wire and you're going to grab it with your chain nose pliers. So my chain nose pliers are going in perpendicular to the plane of my piece, and I'm just going to brace with my finger and bend that wire straight up. So what I've done is I've taken that wire and I've aligned it with the center of the piece. Now this is something that we keep coming back to over and over and over again, you know, in our wire wrapping projects. This is how you make a loop that is centered over your pieces. You literally make that little turn in the wire, and that's how that happens. And then I'm going to wrap this wire around this wire, but if I don't bend this one as well, it's going to start at this really weird angle. So I'm going to take my chain nose again, grab that wire, and bend it down. So what I've created now is sort of a right angle, like not a perfect right angle, but a right-ish angle. And then I'm going to hold with my chain nose. Now this wire is pretty short, so I'm going to grab another pair of pliers to help me wrap. Well, that was exactly what was not supposed to happen. I looked up at exactly the wrong time, and tragedy. It's okay. We can fix it. So what I'm doing is I'm just straightening it out. So I had started the wrap. So I'm going to put that wrap that I had started back, and I'm going to bend this again upwards, and then I'm going to continue wrapping. And sometimes it's easier, instead of pulling it, to kind of push it with your pliers. But what really needs to happen is I need to go get a second pair of chain nose. Hi, Silver and Fantasy! Welcome in! I'll be right back. Okay, it's always, you know, sometimes you can get away with crappy tools, or not crappy tools, none of my tools are crappy, but using the wrong tool for the task because you're theoretically good at this and you teach it on the internet and you're good at making things work, but sometimes you just really need to get your ass up off the stool and go get the right tool. So I actually grabbed a flat nose, which is going to work just as well. So the reason that things went awry is what I really need to be doing is holding with one flat pliers and wrapping with another flat pliers. And I also need to not look up at the screen while I'm doing this. Try and keep it on camera for y'all though. Okay, so there we go. And I'm going to wrap literally to the very end of my wire, so that pokey stabby, I'm just going to press it down and it's going to become the end of my coil. Okay, so I didn't have very much wire, so I don't really have to trim. And not super happy with, right? I'm not super happy with this, so I'm going to try and give it a squeeze. I may just create more disaster here. Haha, there we go. Okay, so that's what I want it to look like right there. And that made my pokey stabby stick out and become more pokey and stabby again, so I'm just going to press that down again, like so. Alright, so now I'm going to take this top piece and I'm going to make a loop. And I'm just going to do that by kicking that forward a little bit in front of my wire wrap, and then grabbing my round nose pliers and just grabbing it at the very end. So whenever you're making a loop with round nose pliers and wire, grab always as close to the end as you can, and then I'm just going to roll that loop over like so. And ideally, you want it to just tuck right into the top of that wire wrap. Okay, so now that everything is secured, I can go back to fixing a little bit some of the weirdness that happened when I had my snafu. There's this weird bend here in my wire that I don't like, so I'm going to go ahead and just flatten that out. Hey Corvus! How goes? And then if I want to oval this out a bit more, I can just take my ring stick and just kind of work it up my shape a little bit, and that'll give me more of that oval shape like I have on my sample rather than my teardrop shape. I'm really, like, I am upset about the whole notification thing on Twitch because it bugs me. Because, like, I've got people that want to watch things and Twitch don't tell them that I'm on, and I don't like it. But I also don't know how to fix it, so I'm really just bitching for no reason. Okay, so now I've got, so now it kind of looks like a lemon, which is fun. And now I'm going to do that thing that I forgot to do when I was making the sample. I'm going to hammer it. Okay, so I'm going to take my bench block, and I'm going to take my shape, and I'm going to take my hammer. And the stream's going to get loud for a minute, so if you've got headphones in, you might want to take them out for a sec. And I'm just going to hammer this flat. Okay, so what that does is it just flattens the wire, and which I think is pretty, but it also hardens your wire. So this is a much sturdier shape now than it was when I started. So now I'm going to make my little chevrons. So I'm going to take my Papermate pen, and I'm just going to grab in the middle of my wire, and I'm going to bend that around my pen like so. And then I'm just going to take my round nose pliers, and I'm going to grab the ends. I'm going to grab one end, and I'm just going to curl it in like so, and then I'm going to take the other end. Wow, that definitely was not the center at all. Yeah, that's way more wire than I had on this side. How do you fit? It's actually going to fit pretty nicely though. Oh my gosh, yay Corvus, that's amazing. So then just grab it at the end, curl it in. Okay, this is just bad. Let's try that again, shall we? We're all going to pretend we didn't see that, because I'm fancy and I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to try that again. This time I'm going to do something novel, and I'm actually going to measure to find the center. This is very rare for the Beading Dream stream. Okay, this is legitimately the center. So I have found the center using the ruler. I'm going to once again put my pen there, bend it around. Now what I'm going to do now that I didn't do last time is I'm going to double check myself, because see, this is where things go awry, because it slides on the pen. So at this point it's really easy to fix. You're just going to kind of move that bend over. So what you want is you want a U with the two ends aligned. Like that's pretty good. And then we're going to go ahead and continue wrapping that around our pen nice and tightly to make our little teardrop. And if you can get a hold of the ends and just pull, usually that comes out really nicely. Again, make sure that they're even, because once again I slipped. This is the problem I had last time. So we bend one a little more, and then we unbend the other one until once again they match, like so. Alright, before I totally forget how to do that, I'm going to do it on the other one. So again, the center on the center of my pen. Pay attention when you're bending so that your ends are even, then bend them past each other. Like so. Press down. And I actually did a better job on that one. Look, they're even, y'all. See, I can do this stuff. My pen can go back in there. And then I'm going to take my ends, and once again, I'm going to curl them under with my round nose pliers. So I'm just sort of spinning that under so I get a little curly cue. It's true, Corvus, even wire ends is harder than one thinks, but it is possible. Alright, so that's my little chevron. And so when you're doing shapes like this, you have choices. I have chosen for this project to curl my ends towards my main loop, but you could also curl them away. Makes a different shape. You could also curl one away and one towards, and that makes still another shape. So there's a lot of, once again, there's a lot of choices in this basic technique. Sorry, I keep wandering. Okay, so there's my two little, finally, my two little chevron shapes. So now I'm going to hammer these. So when I hammer these, I'm going to be careful not to hammer on the point where those two wires cross. So I'm going to go here, and here, and here. Hello, Lucifer, welcome in. We are always open to questions here on the Beading Dream stream. I'm going to go ahead and hammer these now, so once again, it's going to get loud for a minute. And I'm going to try very, very hard not to hit my finger. This may or may not be successful. That's my hammering face. Alright, so that's what it looks like. So that's post-hammering, and that's pre-hammering. So I just like the hammered look. I think it looks I just think it looks a little bit more refined. I'm a fan of good superhero movies, yes. Or horribly bad superhero movies. Have to have the right level of camp though. Okay, so now that's hammered as well. So now we're going to start to put it all together, which means I need to grab I'm putting this hammer back where it goes so that I won't be needing Heather to hand me a hammer. You know, I don't know that I actually have a favorite character. I will say that being a just complete, you know, like I said, lover of camp, I am very excited for the new Thor movie. Because it looks like it has camp to spare and Taika Waititi, so I'm in. Okay, now I'm going to attach these onto this frame. So the way that this goes is this goes down, but again, there's absolutely no reason. Oh, it probably is that word, because we have been plagued by bots. And I think we did mod the word famous.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious!
Okay, so I actually think with the shape of this that I like this better. So this is what I'm going to do. It can go either way. So I'm going to go ahead and anchor this at these 2 points, here and here, with my 26 gauge wire. So when you're doing this, for the love of God, give yourself plenty of tail to hang on to. Okay, don't try and do this to yourself. No, no, no. Do not. Do not, do not, do not. Whoa, hi 15 people. Where did y'all come from? happy Wednesday night on the Beading Dream stream. Thanks for joining us. For anybody who is curious as to what the heck I'm actually doing, this is what I'm doing, or a variation thereof. Sometimes when I recreate the project on stream, since I have a problem with not making notes when I make my samples, things change. But I always feel like it's a good thing to see how you can, you know, use exactly the same technique to do different things. So, for the love of God and yourself, give yourself plenty tail to hang on to. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch this wire. So I'm holding now 3 things in my left hand. I'm right-handed, so that's the hand I'm going to use to wrap. So I'm holding the my little chevron piece, I'm holding my frame, and I'm holding my 26 gauge wire. So now I'm going to take my 26 gauge wire, and I'm just going to fish it up through that space there, pull it nice and tight, and then wrap it around both of those pieces. So my goal here is to wrap as tightly as I possibly can without pulling those 2 pieces on top of each other. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and do that again. I'm going to fish the end up through me, pull, and then again wrap around the frame. Yes, so number 1, Corvus, it's all about giving yourself enough to hang on to, and then it's also about the tucking procedure at the end of the process. Oh no, that's terrible, Heather. So on my sample, I've got I'm actually anchored at 4 points. In this, I'm only going to be anchoring at 2 points, so I'm going to do a decent number of wraps. I think I'm going to do like 6 or 7 wraps. Oh, good Lord.
That's hilarious, right?
That's pretty hilarious. Alright, so there we go. One more. I'm going to call it done. Alright, so there we go. So now I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm going to trim those ends off nice and short. Okay, do not be afraid to trim your ends really short. I promise that the next stage is going to be easier if you do. Alright, so I'm going to cut. Make sure you only cut the wrap you're trying to cut and not the other ones. And then I'm going to take my chain nose or my flat nose, doesn't really matter. Chain nose are better for the next step though. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to crimp them flat. And so what I'm going to do, you can see that I wrapped a little too tight, but usually what you can do if that happens is you can crimp and you can kind of pop those 2 wires back next to each other like that. And that is actually, if you can get just the right level of that, that winds up with this wrap being super tight and super secure, which is fantastic. Then you're going to take your ends, and the best way to tuck your ends in this scenario is to grab them again from the back, always from the back, Corvus, always from the back, and just put your chain nose pliers on top of that end and rotate your pliers and then press. Okay, so just grab it, rotate, and then press it down. And that should result in your end being pretty flush against your metal. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. And sometimes it's kind of hard to get your, so if you can't get your pliers in from the back, then you can go in from the front and just grab it and rotate, smash. And if I can, I'm going to try and get that little piece to just tuck right in there. Fail, fail, fail. I futzed it up. There we go. Alright, so there's that one. Alright, so there's one. And so ideally you should be able to feel this, and it shouldn't be scratchy. at all. So now I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'm going to grab the rest of my 26 gauge wire, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm holding my 26 gauge wire, both of my frame pieces in my hand, and then I'm going to go up and around, up, and around. So one of the main problems I see when people are trying this type of wire wrapping is just not pulling your wraps tight enough, because if you have loose wraps, your whole thing is just going to kind of be wobbly and not stable. So you really need to put some juice on that wire and give it a good yank. So we're not going to talk about the fact that this piece is slightly asymmetrical, because it's way too late to fix that. Okay, so once I've made an equivalent number of wraps here to what I did on the other side, once again we're going to, yep, no loose wraps and tuck in. Trim, trim, and then once again I'm going to try that little trick where I'm going to crimp and just sort of rotate those wires so that they are side by side, like so, and then these ends, just come at them, grab them, and rotate, press. Press. And once again, you should be able to run your fingers over that and not get scratched. So now I'm going to go ahead and remember how to use my stream deck. And I'm going to go ahead and add the second one opposing. So since I put this one this way, I'm going to put this one this way. Ooh, I know I'm not going to use any of these stones. Hey Heather, do we have any of those cool labradorite like tube things left?
We sold them.
Dang it.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm just going to have to use a small bead because now I have small space. But I'm going to go ahead and anchor this on just like I did the other one. So while I'm doing that, what? Oh, yes. That's okay. I'd rather sell them than use them in a class sample that has gonna have every chance of just sitting around here for the next like 5 years before somebody buys it. So I did not get to Heather. Hi Heather. Oh my gosh, we got some of the most amazing labradorite. Are you gonna be able to make it for the sales stream? At it's gonna probably be 7:45 because yes, we have Heather Levy. Because I got some of the most amazing labradorite on my last shopping trip. So I did not get a chance to post on about this on social media because I was literally in the process of doing it when that last annoying customer walked in. But we do have a live merchandise sale tonight at 7, probably going to be 7:45 p.m. because like I said, this project's going to be going for probably another 15 minutes or so. And it usually takes us about 30 minutes to transition from the tutorial stream to the sales stream. Okay, to be fair, this is actually all labradorite that Corvus has seen before, but I know that Silvern hasn't seen it except on Corvus's super awesome unboxing stream, which by the way, yay! That's awesome, Heather. And yay for being on vacation in New Mexico. But since I know Silvern, you're new to the stream, and if Heather manages to pop back on, I'm gonna show some of that gorgeous labradorite again, but Corvus, you've already bought it, so you don't need to buy it again. And then let's see, let's see, I did Rando Strandos on Saturday, So I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I have new tiny shinies, and I'm gonna do the labradorite, and I'll figure out some other cool stuff as well. So in 45 minutes we will be doing a live sales stream right here on twitch.tv/beadingdream. So you can join us and have some bead retail therapy if that is what your heart desires this evening. Corvus is like, you're not being helpful. I mean, she's being helpful to me. And Lori's box is finally winging its way, or driving its way, to Canada, aided and abetted by the U.S. Postal Service. And should be there, well, it just left yesterday, so it's probably not going to be there super soon. Oh, it left my, god dang it. So I don't know what's wrong with me today, y'all, but like, so just now I acted like it was Tuesday. A couple minutes ago, right before the stream, I was 100% convinced it was Monday, even though nothing in my situation was Monday-ish. All the wrong people were here, all the wrong staff members were here for Mondays. I was starting a stream like, and I slept. I got sleep.
Look, time is hard.
I got sleep. I got gardening done. Oh, I had a tragedy with my plants though, y'all.
Oh.
I didn't realize that my sprinklers were off for 2 days because the hose broke, and the new hose that I bought was not compatible with the sprinklers, and literally like 50% of my plants are dead. Crispy, dead, not salvageable. I was so incredibly sad about that. Luckily, I have a very sweet friend who works for a landscaping company who is going to give me some of their plants that are not quite in good enough shape to go to client projects, so that I can at least put some annuals in my yard, so it's not just like this barren wasteland of I mean, all my hardy perennials survived, but everything else, anything that was even a little bit sensitive, was like done. Okay, so I found a bead. I didn't even have to get up and get it. I think it's gonna look really pretty in there. Oh my god, not a single seed that, well, actually that's not true. Most of the seeds that I planted didn't even sprout, and then the ones that did sprout got fried in the heat. So no more seeds for Allison. Heather, next time I say I bought seeds, please remind me of that.
But then it will be too late.
But maybe being chastised will help me learn the lesson. So
I'm so good at gestation? Chastity?
Moving on. Alright, so I've anchored that wire 3 times around my top little loopy-doo. I know, it is so crazy hot. At least we've got a bit of a respite this week. The highs dropped down into the high 90s instead of the, triple digits like we've been having, but it's of course not gonna last. It's gonna go back. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, no more seeds for me, no more vegetables for me. It's all just a big waste of money. Apparently, what I can grow are roses and things that come from bulbs. So that is where the money is going from now on. Okay, so now I'm just going to do the same. Anchor it around the exact same point in this one. Even that bead is a little too fat. There we go. And sunflowers. I can grow sunflowers, but then they died when the water went away. So sunflowers I can do from seed next year and try not to murderate them. Also, Corvus, when I was gardening on Tuesday, I found 2 toads and I very gently picked them both up, well, one at a time, and relocated them very gently to a shady corner of the garden. There was no offenses made to toads. Just saying. Trying to redeem myself. Alive. Yes, Corvus. They were very much alive. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and trim, and do that same turn and press, and turn and press. Alright, this definitely has its share of wonk to it, as some of my on-stream projects often do, because this is definitely very much not straight at all. It kind of has this little like lean to it, but that's the basics of the project. So getting the symmetry is all about finesse, which of course streaming isn't necessarily always conducive to, but you get the basic idea of the technique. And like I said, you can do so many things with it. And then if you wanted to, you could even make two little minis of this to kind of fill in here and there. You could put spirals in there, or you could just leave it as a negative space. So that's it. That's the wire chevron pendant. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us on the Beading Dreams stream to do this slightly wonky version of this project. I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas, and we are an actual brick and mortar retail bead store. We are here on Lover's Lane. For any of you who are local in Dallas or happen to be visiting, we're here Monday through Saturday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. If you are not local in Dallas, you can find us on this channel, twitch.tv/beadingdream, 5 times a week with complimentary tutorials. We stream Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Central, plus Thursdays at noon, and live merchandise sales every Wednesday and every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Yay, you're welcome, Corvus. We miss you too, Heather. Wait, Heather, can I put you on so you can wave to Heather?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Here comes a Heather. Do you want to be full screen or not?
Either way.
Okay, here's a Heather. So that's a Heather.
Love you.
Heather,
We miss you.
Heather waving at a Heather. We miss you so much. So, oh, tomorrow's project. So this is our lunchtime project for tomorrow. It's a really easy and cute little piece. Thanks, Lori. We'll see you in a bit. Really easy and cute little project using a couple of large hole pearls and some leather. So we're going to go get ready for the sale, and we will see you all back on this channel, twitch.tv/beadingdream, in about 30 minutes, right? At 7:40, 7:45. If you're not going to join us for the sale, thanks so much for hanging out for the tutorial. And don't forget, we got another one tomorrow at noon, Torch Thursday tomorrow at 6, Freeform Friday, and then another tutorial and sale on Saturday. So we'll see you all back on this channel, twitch.tv/beadingdreams, very, very soon. Bye.